namakhosi wena baba uyinqaba yethu nakwani yakwenza lokhu uNkulunkulu wena baba uyinqaba yabike wena baba uyinqaba yethu akakenzi lutho yini wena oh wamshitha umuntu umthathe ngelu umhlalisa namakhosi wena baba uyinqaba yethu noma ngakalungi lutho asa ikhonisa yona silani lelala 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 wineleka silani lelala 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 silani lelala. Thank you so much. Thank you. Samson Facebook Samson Osmanga ilami Samson Sam Instagram Samson Sam. Thank you so much.
Siyabonga kakhulu umfowethu Sam ngokuthi asinikeze induduzo asinikeze yona. Ngiyazi ukuthi ke kwafanele ngimnikeze some more minutes because abantu abafana nabo basuke bezokhuluma nabo bezoshumayeza. So khona ikhala bayivalayo kwabanye bethu. Siyabonga baba umculo usinikeze wona. Uamazwi asiduduzayo kwawona. Sibonga kakhulu baba. Ngizocela ukwenza i-change nje encane kwi-program. Ngizocela ukuthi ikwaya manezalereta ngiyithathe kube yona ezozwalela umcimbi. Bese kuzoba khona ke emndenini engizokuthi uzosipha amazwi okubonga. Ngicela ukuthi ngahambisana kahle ke mhlambe kanjalo bakwethu. I hope ukuthi lokho ngeke usiphazamise imoya. Enye into esihlale sithatha for granted la eSouth Africa ukuthi abantu beyinkonzo ezahlukahlukene kuthina bayakwazi ukuhlala ngaphansi kwendle eyodwa. Kwamanye amazwe khona amazwe la ekudliwa khona indlala ngenxa yokuthi izinkolo azifunani nanokubonana. Sekwaba khona ama-cities noma amadolobha asabhonjwa awaphansi ngenxa yaleyo nto. So sifuna ukubonga nje bonke abantu bamahlelo ahlukahlukene la eSouth Africa ukuthi le nto ayenziwa ngogovernment kodwa yenziwa abaholi beyinkolo ezahlukene ngokwabo. Ngalesikhathi ke ngizocela umfowethu Khabazela ukuthi eze ngaphambili azosithulela i-guest speaker yethu esengithe nje nami ukukhuluma kancane ngayo. Engicabanga ukuthi abaningi bethu mase bebona ubuso bayo bazobona ukuthi hayi engathi bujwayele ubuso. Senobona ukuthi nibazela kuphi njengale insizwa nje uSam ngibonile emeqhamuthi le ndoda ndikhona la ngiyazela khona. Nanso ke sichaza ukuthi siyazela ku-television. Kanjalo ke amsho ngale speaker sethu silandela kuzoba kanjalo. Mfoka Mkhize ngicela uze ngaphambili uzosithulela i-guest speaker yethu. Thank you.
Thina sizwe thina sizwe esimnya sikalela izwe elathathwa ngabamhlo mabawuyeke mabawe kumhlaba we mabawuyeke Siyabonga. Program Director, Mapolova, ngibingelele imndeni ekhona ngaphakathi. Ngibingelele i-leadership yeZubera Institution, Mr. Xolan Dube in particular. Ngibingelele ne-organizing team yalolu suku lanamhlanje. Ngiphinde futhi ngibingelele cabanga ukuthi abe-media, ngibingelele nabantu abasilungisela i-sound. Ngizongixolela-ke ngoba ngizomix i-language ngoba kune-message esifuna ukuyisenda la. Ngoba we are not apologetic about this event. This must be stated. Ukuthi we are not apologetic. Ngicela ungi-adjustele mic mfana ngithi angizizwa kahle. We are not apologetic about the event yanamhlanje esihlanganise la. Today is a public holiday. Abantu bakhululekile, abanye ba celebrate ama reconciliation ongazi babe reconcile nobani. But thina sifele nje basini. We are here to mourn abantu bakithi ababulawa unprovoked. Our people were murdered without any provocation. So we're not going to be apologetic about that. Program director, I've been given a mammoth task. It's a mammoth task because the man I'm about to introduce to you, indoda emadodeni ayishumi. But before program director I'm introduce, I'd like to steal. There's a song sang by Benning Spear. Abantu abaningi bazo understand ukuthi when you sing reggae, reggae is always political. Angeke ke thina abantu abamnyama si exclude politics in everything that we do. Because politics ikhuluma nathi on a daily basis. The systems esi-expose kuzona, it's political. Lengoma ikhuluma umculi mayicula ukhuluma nge-island noma nge-country yakhe, but ngizoyishintsha mina namhlanje ngithi I'm sure ukuthi it's not plagiarism because I've declared a disclaimer. Ithi lengoma, my natives do not sell out. My natives do not sell out, please do not sell out. Remember your teachers, them now. Remember your nurses, them now. Remember your doctors, them now. My natives do not sell out. My natives do not sell out. Remember your farmers who fell in Phoenix. Remember your workers who fell in Phoenix. Remember your neighbors, my natives, who fell in Phoenix. My natives do not sell out. Remember your people, them now. Remember your messes, them now. Indeed, we are soldiers of our country and of our natives. And now we can see. My natives do not sell out. Remember your natives, them now, that fell in Phoenix unprovoked. Remember your Afro-slave yards. Remember your Afro-slave yards, because we are slaves as natives of this continent and the world. My natives, please do not sell out. My natives, please do not sell out. Let us remember our future as natives. Let us remember our country as natives. Let us remember our future as natives. Program director, I'm asked to introduce a gallant, a man who grew up eBulwa. A man who grew up in the valleys and hills of eBulwa. He is a son of the soil. Like all of us, a man who grew up out of poverty, injustice of not his parents or his doing, but of the system. I speak of a native here who speaks truth to the supposedly power, I speak of a native who is principled, who is not swayed by fame or temporal financial gain or gratification. Program Director, I am asked to introduce a man that stood for principle and truth when it's not popular within the natives to stand and be firm. Allow me, Program Director, to introduce a man that challenged systems that are meant to denigrate and destroy natives. Because today we are not apologetic, Program Director. We are not apologetic about what we are doing today in commemorating those that fell. We are commemorating those that have no voice. We are commemorating those that cannot speak for themselves. Allow me to introduce a gallant, one of the legal brains that we have in our province and in our country. Usungakudebate-ke nanoma inobalo okuthandayo. Ngizointroduce la ubaba uMuzi Sikhakhane, a senior councillor who is based in Johannesburg. Njengoba ngi-indicatile ngathi he's a son of the soil. He grew up in the valleys and the hills zaseBhulwa. But inkaba yakhe la kaZulu. Ngazi uNatal kodwa ila kaZulu. Baba Sikhakhane holds a teacher's diploma. He's a self-made man who took a decision to go and study BA in English and politics. He is a holder of LLB and a master's in political sciences. He is the first former VETS SRC president and a student leader in the 80s here in KZN and later in the mid-90s where he went back to study law and political sciences. Ubaba Sikhakhane VETS changed the regime of the curriculum as the first black president while at institution. He acted as a judge and has been involved in serious prominent cases in South Africa. Siyawazi Baba Sikhakhane ama cases abe involved. Program Director indicated uzobona ubuso and you will associate. Was the first chairman and the founder of the first bar of advocate known as the Pan-African Bar Association of South Africa. The native bar. I think we should have captured in that way. The first native bar. A former student leader and an MK operative. Originally here in KZN and in Transvaal. So he operated. So when we're talking about the struggle, that's why when I'm introducing him, Ama veins the struggle, they resonate because I'm talking about a soldier of his natives and of his country who fought the liberation of the struggle. Was a non-UTF and young activist in the province of Natal then, in the 1980s until he became one of the first victims of the violence which forced him out of his province at a very early age, like many of us. He operated underground. One of the youngest activist victims of apartheid-fueled violence in this province in the 1989s. Abanye bethu bayazi ukuthi the violence here was sponsored. We don't know whether Mboma kaMqhele Phoenix was also sponsored. He operated underground structures of the provinces together with the late Reggie Hadebe, Vuyani Nkosi, Henamel Mthembu of Kwamashu, worked very closely with Umam Victoria Mxenge and remained close to her family even today. His family once hid and settled here in section J Kwamashu when they were being harassed by the apartheid regime and other forces that the apartheid regime employed to unsettle the activists. He then settled in Soweto since 1989, where he continued his work in the structures of the underground and the ANC and the SACP. He is a former teacher and a lecturer of political sciences. Continues to work on prominent cases concerned about issues of justice and the plight of the colonized Africans, natives, people who the law can be used to uplift or oppressed. Ngithike Mboma kaMqhele Bathula Zimase wena wesango elingezansi Sidobe Sinembobo, please address us.
Ngithanda ukubingelela wonke umuntu la. Ngiqale nemndeni kakhulu. Imndeni yabantu bakithi. Abangena emgqeni wabantu bakithi lokubabulawa from 1652. Ngithanda ukubingelela inkonzo yamaNazaretha nekade senzela kona. Kungithokozisa mangibona abantu bakithi bekhombisa ukuthi sikwenza konke. Ngoba sikholwa kumveli inqangi. Ofanayo sikhola kulabo bakithi asebahamba. Ngicela ningivumele ukuthi namhlanje angizosithatha isikhathi senu eside kodwa ngizoxuba. Mangithi ngizoxuba ngisho ukuthi ngizosebenzisa ulimi lolo engilikhulumayo likaMthaniya. Mhlawumbe ngizolibhidilisha nalolu lwesingisi. Ngizomtshela futhi ngilibhidilishelana. Ngilibhidilishela ukuthi mangizi kusuka eGoli izolo ngiza la. Kade ngifonelwa abaholi abathiza, abaholi bendaba abakhuluma kakhulu basaba belungu namaNdiya. Bethi uyaphi kulento kaDube. Bathi uyaphi kulento kaDube i-controversial. Right? Senza amagama amakhulu. Ngathi angiye entweni kaDube mina. uDube uthe angize ngoba kwabulawa abantu bakithi sizobakhumbula. Angiyazi into controversial lapho. So iyona into engilethe la, ngilethe ukuthi ngizokhala nabantu bakithi eselokhu babulawa. Into engizothanda ukunitshela yona namhlanje cishe zu4. Eyokuqala ukuthi imuphi umlando wokubulawa kwabantu bakithi futhi babulawelane. If you think about this, if 300 white people had died, what would happen? Ukube bekufe abelungu about 300 ngoJuly. Ngabe kunjani eSouth Africa? Ukube lehlobo zene ifile bekwabelungu kube kwamaNdiya ngoJuly. Laba nje about 36 mhlawumbe. Cishe ngabe ama leaders ethu ayakhuluma kunama monuments everywhere. So into engifuna ukunitshela yona namhlanje ukuthi uphuma phi umlando ukuthi impilo yomuntu omnyama ibe cheap. Ibe cheap kwezinye inhlanga. Bese ba cheap nakubaholi bethu ngoba besaba ukutshela umlungu ukuthi wasicindezela kufanele sishintshe leyo system. Ngithe into engizoqala ngayo uDube ngithe kuyizolo how uDube wantshontsha into ebengithe ingqikithi yenkulumo yami. Bese ngayikhulumanga naye. Ngimtshela izolo ukuthi ingqikithi yenkulumo yami ukuthi akukho zinyane lemvubu ladliwa zingwenya kwacweba izizi. Well, laba ngasazi isiZulu lesisikhulumayo namhlanje. That simply means you can never touch our precious people and nothing will happen to you. We will revenge their death and we will protect them with all we've got. That's what that idiom means. Isuka phike lento esikuyo. Ekugcineni ngizonitshela ukuthi umthetho ngabe uyaphumelela yini ukuvikela abantu ekufanele ngabe uyabavikela na. Senzani thina njengabameli namajaji kumbe ukusiza abantu bakithi kumbe ukubacindezela kakhulu. Now I say that because law is an important tool that we must respect in society. We must respect our judges. We must respect our leaders. We must respect law because law governs the affairs of human beings. I don't want to be misinterpreted about this. That we must respect umthetho because law is an important tool in society. But law is dangerous if it's in the hands of corrupt leaders, leaders who are cowards. Law is as dangerous as war if it's in the hands of corrupt judges, biased judges who do not take the lives of black people seriously. Uma kuwukuthi umthetho awukwazi ukunakekela abantu okuyibona abampofu, lo mthetho loyo uyophelelwa yisikhathi. Ingakho masisho lento njalo mangisho lento kuba ngathi ngithi abantu bakithi abalwe. Vele ngithi ilwana kodwa ngalendlela. Our laws and our politicians and everybody, the way to judge whether we are free. Ukuze sazi ukuthi sikhululekile kufuna sibuze umuntu wala elindelana. Sibuze umuntu waseClermont wala kaMashu, sibuze umuntu waseFolen naseGiyani, nakwaZakhele naseGugulethu nakwalanga. Simbuze ukuthi impilo yakhe isathathwa ngendlela ehlukile na since selokhu sakhululeka. If the lives of our people under the same laws that we have made remain the same, they are exposed to danger as we saw them killed here, and they're exposed to permanent violence. One of the things esingazazi kahle ukuthi yini violence abantu abamnyama abaphila kuyo generally every day. Ubupa. Poverty is violence. Perpetual violence against black people in their own land. So, iphuma phi lento esikuyo? Well, ngithenga ngibhalela umlando omncane. Silana nje as Africans, because in 1652, on the 6th of April, 82 men, 82, not 82,000, 82 men and 8 women, white, landed on our shores. Sakoloniza amadoda awu-82 namakhosikazi awu-8. Bephume Dutch. There were not many. Bebehamba ngemkhumbi emithathu mangicabanga. Dromedaris nomunye yazi bebeyibizana. And why? Where was law? Ubukuphi umthetho when that happened? Well, I think ngikunika ukuthi abantu abamnyama bafe kuphi kusukela then. When did this murder of natives start? Aqaleni nabantu bakithi ukubulawa, babulawelani? Yini futhi eyiphutha ngokuba mnyama eyenza ukuthi noma sesikhululekile sibulawa kuba ngathi akwenzekile lutho? Qala very early land. Ngizokunika nje okokuqala. Iqala ngo-1818 in the Highveld la othukela. Sijwayele ukuthi abantu bakithi babelwa bodwa ngemfecane. Abantu bakithi sesingazi ukuthi babelwa ngoba kukhona okubaphehlayo emva kwabo bephelelwa yizwe lithatha abantu abathize. Sijwayele ukutshela ukuthi babelwa bodwa. 1 million people were displaced. That's 1818 to 1828. Ngo-1838, ngo-6 February, 100 people were killed. 100 people, black people, natives, killed as early as that, 1838. Ngizwile nithi abanye baya-celebrate reconciliation. Well, ngo-1838 again, namhlanje, mangicabanga, 16 December, siye singazibuza ukuthi kwakwenze njani njengoba siyoreconcile nabantu abangafuni ukureconcile nathi. Abantu abangafuni ukubuyisa isithunzi sethu ithina esibancengayo. Sincenga isithunzi sethu kubantu abasithatha. Bakaze baxolisa. 6 of February usuku olubalekile la eNatal ngoba usuku okwabulawa ngabantu abantu bakithi futhi usuku okwaqala lento ekuthiwa isivumelwano i-treaty yokwenza iprovince yethu bebebiza iNatalia then theirs. 17 February 1838 again eWinen abantu bakithi about 250 died. Into esingazitshelwa lezi. In the Northern Cape on the same day, the Khoi and the San were killed. On 24 May 1921, in the Bulhoek Massacre, 163 people were killed. Belitwa umuntu kwakuthiwa Enoch Mgijima. Bebulawelani njengabantu bakithi nje ababulawela babeyiphilela impilo yabo belwa nalabo ababethathizwe labo. Ise Queenstown. Ngomhla ka-13 to 14 January 1949 akufuni nokuthi ngize nginitshele ukuthi kwenzekani la eThekwini. Abantu bakithi yet again killed. 143 or so of them. 14 January. 8 November 1952. Maibuye uprising. Ekimbali eGalishiwe. Abantu bakithi about 13 killed. No reason. 31 March 1961. Sharpeville. Ngikutshela le story ngoba ngifuna ihlobo ezila ezinabantu bakubo who were killed before ngitshela ukuthi umthetho yini iqhaza lawo. Labantu bakithi ababulawa bajoina inqwaba yabantu bakithi ababulawele hayi nje ukuthi bayazabalaza that they struggle for their lives, for dignity, to be human. Babulawele ukuthi they are black. There is a reason why impilo yethu is cheap before the law. It's cheap before our leaders. It's cheap sometimes before our own people. Ekugcineni ngizokutshela ukuthi yini ekufanele siyenze ukuze siqede inyala lento. Noma ngasithatha iminyaka kodwa sizoyiqeda. Ukuthi abantu bakithi babulawa ngo-March 1969. 1961 about 69. Babulawa eSoweto. Babulawa eMarikana. Ngoba kufanele sikusho lokho ukuthi babulawa eMarikana, babulawa yonke indawo. Babulawa ePhoenix. Babulawa eBuipatong, babulawa eTransfeed. Ayikho indawo where black lives in their own land have not been destroyed. Now, of course, masiwasho lamaqiniso, we are called by your leaders all sorts of names. Ingakho ngithe ngizoxuba isilungu nesizulu. Ngoba ngifuna laba bazobe khuluma ntambama namhlanje bethi sithe. Bazi ukuthi ngitheni bangangitoliki. Because kufanele sikhuluma amaqiniso about our lives, about ourselves, ukuze abantu bakithi bakhululeke okwangempela. Now, kulomlando engikunike wona bengizama ukukutshela lokho. Akusilo iphutha. Mhlawumbe isizulu asisho kahle lento. It's not by accident that millions and millions of people of your color remain unimportant today. 11 million black people were killed in 1885 by King Leopold in the Congo. Do we have a day for those to remember them? Lukhona usuku enakunezwa kuthiwa sakhumbula abantu abawu 11 million abamnyama ababulawa King Leopold waseBelgium. No. Ingakho ngithi oxolani nabanye noma gwaza wonke abantu abala. Kuyisibindi bafowethu lokho enikwenzayo. Kungesona isibindi kuphela, kuyinto efanelekile. uDubu bezama ukuncenga lana ethi angize la ngisuke eGoli ngathi Dube usungincenga uzungincenga ukuthi ngize la abantu bakithi babulawa khona akuyona into ongincengela yona le ufuna ukungikhokhela ngidube ufuna ukungikhokhela ukuye emngcwabeni wabantu bakithi because it must start with each one of us to teach our own leaders sifundise ama-politicians ethu to teach our own judges to teach our own councillors ukuthi freedom inkululeko yabantu bakithi the only way to judge it the only way to judge whether your political settlement inkulumo zaseCodesa there's only one way of judging whether that was successful no other way don't listen to all the sophistication of all the leaders that are telling us things take time ningajahi one way usekhululekile yini lo muntu esasilwela ukumkhulula na that's the only answer don't allow them to tell you oh no that's simplistic oh no 27 years is a very long time ukuthatha umama umkhiphe empilweni aphila kuyo umphilise kangcono ukhule naye now yini i-role ekufanele siyidlale thina ukuyikhulula thina na ngiqale ngokuthi abantu abamnyama siphathwa ngendlela esiphethwe ngayo because kunomsuka kunomlando there is a history of oppression there is a history of inferiority ukuthi asilutho now leyo nto leyo akuyonto ekholelwa belungu kuphela ikholwa na abantu bakithi qobo lwabo labo bengithi bebengifonela nje ukube kwakufe abantu abelungu kumbe amandiya abawu36 ngaba ama leaders ethakhuluma zonke insuku ngoba lenkululeko sayithola nje makuwukuthi uyibiza inkululeko sayithola because we were compromised into esasiyilwela kwangempela ayikho asikayitholi abantu bakithi baphila ngalendlela ababephila ngayo besaqindezela now what then was the political settlement about well mhlambe this is the biggest scam of our century mhlambe our children will write about it ukuthi makukuthi impilo zabantu bakithi basake babulawe kanje emgwaqeni omama bahudulwe ezinye inhlanga and nothing happens senza ama inquiries after inquiries because senza ukuthi abantu bakithi bakhohlwe isihluku hayi nje nababulawa ngawo but abaphila ngaso so it means this biggest scam that we call freedom was a scam to give us a vote was a scam to make sure that siba nomthetho sisekelo ozosenza silale laza ngokwengula kusasa ukuze ilife impilo yalabo abaprivileged ngaphezulu kwethu ingakho usahlala kwamashu namanje ingakho usahlala emlazi nasefolweni etshotshombeni lakho ingakho mawuye ekhaya elisha uzothola ukuthi abantu bakithi basahlala endlini ababehlala kuzo ngo1992 ingoba mase sibaphethe abantu bakithi sikhuluma nabo njengeingane encane ngihlale ngibabona labaholi beneni baproducele la eNatal mabekhuluma nani when our leaders speak to us they speak like we are little children basithethisa ngabezwa nala ePhoenix basithethisa mabekhuluma nathi mabekhuluma nabelungu their heads leyiqoka abayiqokayo zodudaide bayibamba ngezandla ngoba bakhuluma nabantu abamnyama bangabalekile now lokho kungabaleki komuntu omnyama that attitude toward blackness permeates all our structures it means yonke impilo yethu kusukela esitolo la sithenga khona size siyofika enkantolo yomthetho sisekela kune attitude towards umuntu omnyama there is a general attitude towards black life and that's why abantu bakithi befa that's why umthetho ungakwazi ukubavikela because umthetho Sonke, and ngiyazibala nami. Sonke abantu abafundile nabaphethe umthetho nabaphethe amandla. Asiphethe amandla kahle hle. Because sisaba abantu ekuyibona abacindezela abantu bakithi. We run this country in order to appease white people, the very cause of our people's suffering. We make no policy that white people don't like. We make no political settlement unless it's approved by white people. We do nothing until abalungu basincoma ukuthi ayinenza kahle wena yenza kahle. Sizama ukukhulula abantu bakithi kodwa sifuna ukubakhulula ngokuzwa ngomuntu obacindezele how they must be free. Now, mangithi lezinto permeate throughout the structures. I'm not asking you to revolt because I'm funi to instigator. But I am actually. I'm not asking you to revolt against any government. But I'm asking you to revolt for the future generations of black people, because we can't leave them like this. We can't leave another 36 people to be killed 25 years from now. So what must we do? What must our law do? Iyini constitution abantu bakithi babephila ngobuba. In constitution, when our people live under laws that are controlled by people who oppress them. What is the future of the child you left today? Ozohlala efunda lapha esikoleni kuleya primary school onayo lapha elokishini ngeke aphinde aphume ngeke iphinde improve. What must we do? Must we change governments? Many people tell you that. Please vote, do this. Kune system globally, all over the world. There is a system that fools us. It's a system that keeps white privilege and maintains black poverty and suffering. It's a system, it's not a government. So mangithi kuwe revolt. Instigator. You must revolt against any system that keeps black people where they were since they were colonized. Revolt. You must revolt against the system itself. Natives as tall as many abaguso. It's because Dube after 5 years. Ama leaders it's fana nomuntu othi utshwala butshodile empongolweni. Alokho eshintsha ukhamba. Njalo nje ubuka ngokhamba olusha. Aphakela abantu. Baphinde bakhononde emva kwa 5 years kuthiwa asithathe olunye ukhamba. Lolo lihlotshisiwe. Siphinde siyokho empongolweni onotshwala obutshodile siphinde sibanika abantu bakithi. Into engicela yona ukuthi ukuze sishintshe umthetho ulwele abantu bakithi. Ukuze sishintshe economic policy yezomnotho yenza ukuthi wonke umuntu lana azibone neqhaza. Ukuze sishintshe indlela amajaji akhuluma ngayo nani nokuthi azolana which sections of society do they protect. Ukuze izikole zengane zethu ziproduce ama leaders, black people that are conscious, that will protect their parents and their future generations. What must we do? We must change the system that puts black people where they are. We must change the system that co-opts our leaders to sympathize only with privileged people. We must change the system that makes your leaders, every time they sit to decide policy and they get co-opted onto the boards, different boards that white people control. Baba nama shares in different places. They get co-opted. And we are fooled to think the system that kills abantu bakithi, that keeps ugogo in this wheelchair forever, we are fooled to think it's going to change. Sikha utshwala obujodile emphongolweni silokhu sishintsha inkamba nenkezo. And so i-system esikuyo ekufanele siyishintshe must be a system that conscientizes us. There's nothing wrong with being black. And there's nothing wrong with being a native who's proud that you are a native and you can fight. And I'm not asking that we should fight anybody. I'm saying we should fight the system that keeps the natives like you and me down. Kwamashu, Emlazi, Ekiyani, Kwalanga. I'm asking you to challenge the system that will keep your child that you left at home today. He's going to go through what you've gone through for the next 50 years. And you will keep voting because ushintsha inkamba ukhutshwala obujodile. Kuseyilo botshwala obujodile noma ukhamba lakho lungaba luhle kanjani. Therefore, what must we do? What must we do to change our laws, imithetho, that seem to support those we found already wealthy? How must we change the system so that a person like me cannot be co-opted into a system that makes us look at ourselves as individuals and leave our communities without anybody? How must we make sure that those who become our leaders are rooted in the plight of the very people that we struggled to free? They are not free. They are not free. You are not free. You are just peaceful. You've been kept peaceful. That's all you are. You are being controlled not to raise a finger. I was being informed not to come here so that we cannot speak these truths about our own lives. Ngempilo zethu nabantu bakithi. Ngitshelela ngiqale khona ngithe uyibuze namanje angingakhulumi ngabantu abawu-36 makungafa belungu abawu-4 la eSouth Africa bawu-4. About 4 kumbe shobashobana right mfowethu zonke indawo eShell House uzozibuza ukuthi ngikhulumelana ngabonke labantu. Umuntu omnyama kithi must be our brother and sister. It doesn't matter which political party they come from. I think umsebenzi owenziwa yilabantu bezubhera nabanye nabantu abaorganize lento ngihlale ngithi kubo into ebalekile abayenzayo mhlamba ithatha isikhathi eside mhlamba bakwazi ukugcwalisa abantu emaralini. Into ebalekile ukuthi sibe conscious sizazi ukuthi siwobani sifunani. Why am I not worried that I'll be misquoted tonight? That tomorrow journalists or people will write why I came to speak at this anti-Indian, anti-white event, whatever they call it. Why am I not scared? Somebody told me this morning I shouldn't come here, it's not safe. Well, I feel very safe. I feel safer than I do when I'm in Sentin in Joburg. Because although I'm not sitting with an important white journalist who thinks they can write about us, I feel safe because I'm sitting nabantu abafana nami. I'm safe because I'm sitting with people who I know love me because I'm like them. And I love them. And that's the importance. And so when I say we must change the laws, we must change the systems, I started by saying, Guinea, umthetho uyinto ebalulekile ukuthi uhloniphe. Umthetho uyinto ebalulekile ukushintsha impilo zabantu. Ngoba unezinkantolo, unamaphoyisa, unama-minister bonke. Ubaluleke kakhulu. Kodwa what I told you about the law is that law, when it's in the hands of corrupt people, when law is in the hands of judges who are trying to please white capitalists, when law is in the hands of lawyers and judges who are trying to please the political class that seeks to please their white masters, that law is as dangerous as war. And you must reject it. And so, into ekufanele sizenze mangithi kufanele siqale ngokuthi umthetho ujikwe yithi. Kufanele sizibuze ukuthi yini engenziwa ukuze abantu bakithi ngelinye ilanga singaphinde sizwe kuthiwe babulewe. Le question le mawuthi ayibuza kuthiwa simplistic. Mangizwa umama ekhuluma ukuthi ingane yakhe yabulawa kanjani. Ku-easy mangibona ngihlala kufunde emaphepheni. Ngathi ngihamba la eThekwini nje ngoJuly khona ngalezo zikhathi. Ngavinjwa amandiya nabelungu. Bangibuza ukuthi ngiyaphi. Ngaxake ukuthi kufanele ngisho kumlungu neNdiya ukuthi ngiye Spa. Kufanele ngimbikele ngisaye Spa my bus. Because what were they protecting? Ngifuna ukunishiya nale question. Khona ngibuza uMagwaza noma umkhizi ubuza iquestion angizoyiphendula ngizoku-add kuye. Mawuye eGoli nala eNatal. Ngifuna niyibuze ukuthi abantu bakithi bayafelani. Ubani owa instigator the death of our people? Angizuphendula lo mbuzo ngizoku-addela leminye imibuzo. Siqale eGoli. eGoli kunamamola amaningi. The biggest and the wealthiest ones, Hyde Park, Rosebank, Sandton. Those are the three biggest malls. Mawufuna ukwenza something that ongenayo, that's where you go. Ngicela niyibuze ngelinye ilanga ukuthi yini lawo mall? Sandton, Rosebank, Hyde Park, Southgate. No one touched them. No one touched them. Because they belong to those who control the means of production. Abanemali. Babengawavikele kwakungekho lutho. Why are they still standing? The pavilion here is in the middle of Chesterville. Right in Chesterville. It's still standing. Gateway is standing. Ngizama ukukunika lokho. Ngelinye ilanga sokwazi ukuthi mhlambe labantu ababopha abanye who go around arresting instigators, arresting people because they were on social media, are the very ones that organized this themselves. Because maybe, and I'm not saying I have an answer, because maybe in anticipation of something bigger that they did not know, they decided to create their own crisis that they could deal with. But we will know that when we write history one day. What exactly happened? Why did the 36 people ihlobo zenu zafelani kade edlule Phoenix? Ngakho ke into engizama ukuyisho namhlanje ukuthi going forward si-few lana ngigcwele ihall, but in represent abantu ababaluleke kakhulu emlandweni wase-South Africa ukuthi kufanele slowly zonke insuku sizama ukusebenza towards what I call general black solidarity. I no longer care ukuthi which organization shot me and stabbed me when I was a young man here in KZN. And I love them because they are my brothers, they're like me. I'll rather ensure that we have block solidarity because umuntu wakithi ohluphekayo kwamashi nasefolweni owakithi noma ngabe ukuphi inhlangano. So into engizama ukuyisho ukuthi kufanele sizama ukushintsha le system eyenza abantu bakithi themselves bangakwazi ukuyunite against an enemy that will keep their children poor and poor and poor until they die. It's a system that we must change. Kufanele sihlale emasontweni sikhulume la sikhuluma khona ukuthi umnotho wala eSouth Africa usezandleni zabani la eNatal. Njengoba niyinqwaba nibondelene kwaMashu naseMlazi naseChesterfield naseLamonti nalenanda. Ubani ophethe umnotho? Singakushintsha kanjani lokho? Singakushintsha kanjani ukuthi izingane zenu njengoba nihlezi la ezifunde ezikoleni ezibhedayo ezibalekelwe wonke umuntu kushintshe lokho? Singakushintsha kanjani ukuthi umthetho, the very last defense of our people? And as I said, I'm a lawyer myself. I like the law because I believe umthetho is an important tool to change society. But I've also told you that laws and lawyers and judges can work with a political class that oppresses people. And so law is as dangerous as a weapon when it's in the hands of those who do not seek human emancipation. So kufanele siziqale kancane lezi zinto indlela esokukhumbula ngayo abantu bakithi abafela ePhoenix. Kufanele futhi singakusabi ukuthi babulawa ubani. Singakusabi. The last point I want to tell you about lento yokusaba ukusho ukuthi sacindezelwa abelungu kumbe sihlushwa iziphi inhlanga ngaba mandiya ngabe ubani, which class. Two things I want to tell you, and I want to tell our leaders themselves. You cannot solve a problem that you can't even pronounce. Angeke ukwazi ukuxazulula inkinga osaba nokuyisho ngomlomo. We should not be scared to say the origins of the problem in South Africa is the suppression, oppression, maiming, subjugation of native people. People say we must abantu abamnyama sobaneka kanjani umhlaba wabo ngoba bakwazi ukwenza farming. Section 25 vele ulungile. It's all rubbish. Think of an example. If I steal your car, mangitshontshe imoto yakho manje. Mase kufuna ngiyibuyise. Kufanele yini ngikubuza ukuthi unayi license, unayi PDP? Eyabani kanti? So all of these things lawyers are saying on TV and everywhere about the land and how difficult it is to return it to the natives. It's all designed to keep you quiet. The fact of the matter is that you were forcibly removed from places where you were comfortable. And until we reverse that situation, the Mandela moment of 1994 was all a scam. If our courts cannot treat umama as poor as she is and a rich man in Hyde Park the same, that law is not worth the paper it's written on. If our courts don't respect you because you don't have money, because you're not important, they don't respect your child because your child is black, that law can't work. It's not for freedom. If our judges and our courts have not broken the chains that tie them to their colonial masters who control what they do, if our judges and everybody are still controlled by what the dominant classes in society think, then we're not free. Then a constitution less nayo umthetho sisekelo usho ukuthini ngoba abantu bakithi abadli umthetho sisekelo. What does it mean when we have laws that our people cannot rely on to protect them? Therefore, what I'm asking is first the organizers of these things never to stop, never to shy away. And Dube, next time you invite me to anything, never offer to pay me. Because the reason that I have money, if I do, it's because I grew up with people like this. It's because everything that I have, I see it as something that I get from them. So, and if we had that spirit, our leaders wouldn't be corrupt in the first place. I hear ANC leaders blame each other. Each one may analyze the problem, starts to analyze the term after himself or before himself. It's never their fault. It's our fault if abantu bakithi remain in poverty that they were. They remain landless. What are our laws if abantu bakithi have to come here and mourn 36 or so people killed and there's no consequences for it? Therefore, kumndeni yonke, I just want to say kini, ngiyazi ukuthi kunzima kanjani ukulahlekelwa abantu ngoba we all say these things we say, but kini it's very personal. Indodana yakho kumbe indodakazi yakho. Well, into esingabenzela yona bonke labantu engithe babulawa ukuthi sibe neqiniso to our own people. Ukuthi singaphili to help our own people but fear the people who oppress them. Njalo nje masifuna ukusiza abantu bakithi sihlale siqalaze emuva ukuthi umlungu neNdiya bathini ukuze sisize abantu bakithi. Iqala ngawe yourself ukuthi mawusebenza lapha eCheckers njalo nje kune queue yabantu mawukhuluma nomlungu uyasmile mawukhuluma nomuntu wakini onjengawe uqudula umlomo. It's our consciousness. It's how we see ourselves. The day we see ourselves as human enough, even if the others don't think so. The last point I want to make, because these functions are criticized because people are creating a non-racial society. Personally, I did not struggle for a non-racial society. I struggled for black people to get out of the misery they were put in by white colonial settlers. That's all I struggled for. But of course I love human beings. I like a non-racial, harmonious society. But we must never create a non-racial society on the basis of a compromise by a whole race of black people who must go down for us to build a false non-racial society. We will build a non-racial society if abantu abamnyama whose land was taken, whose children were killed, whose parents were killed, who live in misery up to today. The day those people tell a different story, then we will know we are on the path to a non-racial society. For as long as that non-racial society is the dream of people who have money, who live in the suburbs where I do, then it's not free. Then those laws are not anything to a poor person. And I want to say, Bantu Ndemndeni yabo, you must know that the best we can do for those we lose is for it never to happen again. Is for us to change the system that keeps us down. To change the leaders that keep us down. And if we must, and now I don't want to be misquoted, I am instigating. And if we must revise whether our political settlement in 1994 was genuine or not, we must do so. And if we must revise whether our leaders are committed to solving the cases of Victoria Mklengo, Nokuthula Simelane, Godolozi, Matthew Koniwe, and others, it's the ANC leaders who are in government who've not prosecuted people that killed our brothers and sisters. It's them. If we must change that system that makes them timid, we must change that system. We must revolt against that system so that it's shinje utshwala empongolweni. Asishintsheni utshwala empongolweni ukuze lento engiqale ngayo yokuthi akho zinyane lemvubu ladliwa zingwenya kwacweba iziziba isho okuthize. Finally, from today, we build black unity. All political parties, the ANC, AZAPO, PAC, everybody, because we have an enemy that hates all of us equally. And so I want to say to the families, we all here, not because this is a political gathering. I didn't come here for that. I didn't drive from Joburg for that. I drove here because it is us, it's these communities, it's these people who died that will ensure that going forward from now, we fight those systems that will keep your grandchildren. It's us who must do that. And know we will fight and create a system one day where a black person will live freely, not be tolerated, will live freely as an equal human being created in the image of God, like everybody else. Ngiyabonga.
Kukhona abazombonga, but ngiyacabanga ukuthi masithi kuyena his sacrifice of coming here all the way from Johannesburg, driving at his own expense, it was worth it. Ngoba amazwi akhe alaphe lezi nhlungu ade ngiyibona ngiyifila mangena la. Angisasho nje kubantu abamnyama kodwa abamndeni kakhulu yalabantu abathinteka. Ngimzulu sisekhuluma la eqaleni and ama-sentiments akhe angihlabe kakhulu. So uma besithole amazwi akha kangaka kumfo wasikhakhana, kuyakhombisa khona nokuthi indlela iseyinde. Ora okujabulisa ngakho konke ukuthi sesiyawazi umsebenzi wethu ekufanele siwenze. Mase siwenzile ukuthi yini ezoqhamuka lapho. Ngale sikhathi ngizocela ukuthi abaseNazaretha abasinikeze umculo ebesiucele kubona. Ngathi nakho kune change. Bengizocela ukukhabazela ukuthi eze ngala azobeka amazwi azobeka umkhize. Oh, Kumar, umntu. Yeah,
Sanibona. Ngicela ukubingelela umndeni ngokukhethekile. Ngibingelele ubaba umhlonishwa uSikhakhane. Noma ngasula mfana ngoku 45. Ngiyazi phela mase kukhulunywa kanje sonke siba serious kanti soduduzana kuthiwa kuhlekwa kufiwe noma kuhlekwa kuphila. Konke okwenzakala kwintando kaNkulunkulu. Ngimbonge nje ubaba uSikhakhane uma esuka la nami uxolana ungishiyele icashule ezinkulu manje ngithi sekeze ngawafasa amademu ngiyaweza ngixeka. Ngithi ngiyawafasa ngixeka amademu kodwa osekukhulunywa ubaba uSikhakhane kuyasakha kuyazivuselela. Asifuni leli gama lokubonga noxolana ngoba akenzeki lutho. Sibonga kanjani ngakenzeki lutho? Sibongelani ngakenzeki lutho. Ngoba nje basihlangene la sizosho nakele ubaba uSikhakhane sacrifice ngoba uyazi ukuthi emva kwento kanje kusuke kuza ikhali zenuzi. Abantu abanjengaye kule movement esiqalile noDube nabanye abafowethu izupera siyamdinga. Nathi asifuni ukuthi sithi sizokwehlisa senyusa imindeni sehlise into engekho kodwa abantu abanjengobaba uSikhakhane siyabadinga ngoba lento esenzayo nje sekuqede konke ukube nje ngiyakhuluma ngabe ngithi ngicela ukusukuma nokungasho lutho kodwa ubaba uSikhakhane uqedile ungazwanga indlebe zakhe ngabazizwa kuthi kufanele kube khona isanitizer ne-earbud yonke into kodwa umzabalazo usuqalile. This is a restart button. Uxolani ukwathi ungilethe eminyango ukuthi uthi ngibe emotional asiqheli uma usacabanga mhlambe khona into encenge kwipolitiki noma encenge kule system esukayo noma mhlambe uzolalela impempi na yonke into thina sifonelwa asengaziwa nawa crime intelligence into engayazi uzoyazi ngokuthi nje thina noxolani ne team yethu sihlanganisa ukuthi siyokhala ePhoenix suvela ufonele ucingo nje olukhulu kuthiwa this is crime intelligence. Awukwenze njani? Siyezwa kuthiwa ni ePhoenix. So ke njobe echaza kubaba ukuthi isystem esibhekene nayo it's unjust. Politics asibekene eceleni isenzele phansi. Into esiqalayo manje umphako esihamba nawo sizovula i-natives movement. Because if only let's call us defend the case at any fund in the Western Cape. Case at end I find in the Western Cape. See Bambi nathi Suzulu. Bazolandele Eastern Cape, bazolandele Polokwane. Ndaba ama political parties noma mhlambe nje besuka besho ukhansela uphumayo, ukhansela ongenela sasebenza ngasezwe ngalisewanele. Buyelana eceleni. So nalento sitheme esiqala kunabafowethu ekuthiwa ama business forum. Okuzwe ngabo uzwe indabeni uzwe nabanye abantu chayinaba labo sikhotheni bebelwela isystem unjust abantu baye kugebengu umungene ebugebengweni because we are forced by the system. Isystem nami yangenza ngaba nabazali ngaphelele ebugebengweni from gebengu ngaphuma ebugebengweni ngabo businessmen from businessmen manje I'm coming to keep abantu bakithi eGibhithe. Because namhlanje njengoba ngivuka ekseni ngivuke ngayitshela ukuthi sike sayikhuluma noXolani ukuthi hey ave kubhlungu kuyaziwa phela abantu bakithi njengoba babona ikipa zingekho khona isixolele ngoba kuyaziwa hayi mase lapha sothola iskipa how cheap black people are. Hayi lapha hayi khona i-catering ekuzodliwa cha sofa sibhande batakwethu sofika silambile sihambe silambile sikhathele ukuthi njalo manje ndiyazi ukuthi azoshaba esizosinikeza uplastic bezingu. So this movement engifuna ukusho emndenini njengoba kade echaza ubaba uSikhakhane uma uzozalwa ingane ngikhuluma nomama ingane imizophuma kumawe kuphuma igazi njengoba kuzalwa lengane lezalwa manje kunegazi eliphalele. So njengoba kuzalwa kuphalele leli gazi kusho ukuthi this is a new birth, this is a new struggle. Because lo mthunzi esithamele kuona nabantu abatshala lesasihlahla abawuthamelanga abantu abawufica usukhona abawuchelelanga awusenamahlamvu akusakho mthunzi. Asitshale nesethuka isihlahla manje esizosinisela bese siba namahlamvu esowazi ukuthi umthunzi wethu. Ngiphinde ngithi nje 2 step back ngendaba ama business forum ngoba wonke umuntu ngifuna ukuthi umehamba abuyele kubo eclear. Abafowethu bebelwela ukuthi bafuna meaningful participation. Kungathi mekwakhiwa ibhilidi kaMashu isibhedlela iPixie laseme wena uphusha ibhali uxovuda ukubeka isitini. Abafowethu bebelwela ukuthi abantu bangasuki la besuka khona nabantu sekunama foreign. Uyayichaza uXolani thina secondary. There are 3 peers. British, Afrikaner, Indians, sebesifakela ama-China, besifakela ama-Pakistan. Where are black people? Asikho. Abantu basemakithi, they are turned to zombies. Baholelo 350 bafica emaposini. In the heat of the sun and in the rain, how can you live with 350? Njengoba ngisho ukuthi akukho engingakusho kutheni icathulo engene kuzona enkulu kakhulu kodwa ukuthi imiyalezo nesinkwe enginiphathisa sona njengoba lichithekile igazi labafowethu bekuzalwa ingane entsha ezosikhipha kulolu sizi esikulona kufanele sihlangane sabantu abamnyama all the corners and the street ale ndawo yakamthaniya sikhulume ngezo lilodwa come 2024 singadayiswa njengoba kwakudayiswa igqila ngamavoti ethu abhalwe ethini 2024 mufika fanele thina ama-natives sibhagene ngevoti lethu sikutshela ukuthi hayi phela uma ungafuni ukwenza lento ukuthi sikutshela yona sizoyiyela thina eParliament. Singadayiselwa amavoti abafana uMalema abajoyina ipolitiki ngo-92 noma ngo-89 noma ngo-92 kuFukrisana. Dayisela lonke izwe lomfana. Kodwa ngikho kwezepolitiki. Engizama ukuchaza ukuthi uma sikhuluma ngale movement noma ngale ngane entsha ezwalayo come 2024 kade simincele ngathi silinde ukukhala amathini manje zololoko ukuthi iyahamba iTheku liyahamba iTheku isihambile iGoli sihambile ukuthi nango 2024 iyahamba iprovince sibuyele eMobeni sibuyele emahlahla sohlahla eMoba ayasicindezela amandiya sababelungu sisaba yonke lento esisabayo. Uma thina suZulu singeke senze sure ukuthi umuntu mesiphuma la ahamba akhulume lenkulumo esikhulumayo ukuthi come 2024 i-natives movement uma uyi-political party kufanele sizokubheka i-conscious yakho ukuthi are we giving you this vote or fuck off sizohamba thina siye legislature sikhiphe nangu ubhamuza umnyanda yomele i-interest yabantu abamnyama. Ngiyabonga.
Sibonge kakhulu lapha kumfoka Mtungo. At this point then ngizocela uXolani uDube ukuthi azosipha amazwi on behalf of i-movement okubonga wonke lo mcimbi. Bese ngiya double check la. Bekuthiwa khona umnumzane obezobonga on behalf of families. Is that correct? Kunjalo? No. Asiqhubeke baba sicela sikuthathe.
Angibingelele. Asingabongi ngoba ayikho into eyenzekile. Ngoba masibonga kusho ukuthi khona into eyenzekile, cha ayikho into eyenzekile. Kepha into engizothanda ukuyibonga kakhulu ukuthi imindeni nathi namhlanje. Ngoba kubona ngiyazi kunzima into eyenzekile. And ngiyazi ukuthi baqoqwa ikhathe eziningi bayiswe lapha benika izithembiso. But ke njengoba sishilo ukuthi thina ayikho into esinithembisa yona ngoba asinalutho. Into ebesiyenza ukuthi nje asihlangane nani sesisho ukuthi siyakhalisana nani. Ikona engingakusho ukuthi angibonge nina kakhulu. Okunye kubalekile angeke ngithanda ukukhuluma kakhulu namhlanje ngoba I'm a very emotional person. Ngibonge wonke umuntu ke okhona. Angibongi nina. Ngibonga abantu bekufanele ukuthi nibe nabo namhlanje ingane nomama nabanye ebekufanele ukuthi nibe nabo. Nisibongele kakhulu ukubona ukuthi banivumele ukuthi nize ngapha. Kunini ize duty ukuthi nibe khona. And so angibonge kubona. Okunye kufanele understand ukuthi why iZubera decided ukuthi ayishintshe izinto ibe ngapha kubantu bakithi. Iqale 2005 uthe Nkosi uyazi ema-hotel and high places nabafowethu abayifundiswa lapho sasibanga khona i-English. Ukuthi khona into esuke siyenza sibanga i-English ukuthi you pronounce it correctly, you put it in a correct context, are you out of line, you know. So sibanga i-English trying to ukuthi sifane nabelungu to assimilate i-culture yabelungu. That's why igcine sidla ama-muffin and namatiye, you know, generally sophisticated. But i-sophistication yethu is always exposed, which we are not sophisticated. Because i-sophistication yabantu abafundisiwe is to protect imindeni yabo ne-community yabo. That is the highest sophistication umuntu ofundisiwe. Why ngisho njalo? If nibuka zonke ezinye izizwe, abantu okuyibona abama-torch bearers, abamavulandlela, abantu okuyibona abaphethe amahawu nemkhonto, kuye kube yifundiswa. Ngoba suke izazi ukuthi zinomthwalo yokuthi ziprotecte labantu akade becontributor ekubafundiseni, because abantu abahluphekayo ibona basifundisayo through text yabo. That's the fact. Umuntu omama bahlale emjondolo noklinayo, i-text yakhe ifundisa lo dokotela, ifundisela ummeli. And so ezinye izizwe ziyazi ukuthi mase ngifundile fanele ngithathe umkhonto ngiyoprotect abantu basekhaya. But thina abantu abamnyama mase sifundile asuthatha lo mkhonto siyoprotect abantu abamnyama, sawuthatha sibaleke. Ingakho kaMashu ungeke uzuze ukuthi khona uprofessor oyedwa ohlala khona. Not even a single professor ohlala kaMashu. Zibuzeni ukuthi yini indaba. Ngeke uzuzwe nanokuthi kuneminister ehlala kaMashu or an MEC enendlu kaMashu. But amabhunu akahambe endaweni zabo. Mawufundile uhlala endaweni yakini mawuyibhunu. MawuyiNdiya mawufundile uhlala endaweni yakini. Uprotect abantu bakini. Abafethu bayazi. Awukwazi ukuya enkantolo computer neNdiya. Because from kwi-court magistrate yiNdiya. I-prosecutor yiNdiya. And so mawukhuluma nge-system babuSikhakhane has been captured by other nations. Akukho wrong lento abayenzile. Ngiyabancoma. Because akekho umuntu ozongicabangela. Akufanele sibablame abelungu. Akufanele sibablame amaNdiya. Akufanele siwablame namaPakistani namaSomalians. Akekho kufanele simblame. Mabe sibulala akufanele sikhale siblame sithi uNkulunkulu usenzeni. Sinezandla ezithu, sinengqondo, sinenyawo, sinegazi, sinakho konke nababanakho. And so angi-understand mawukuthi thina siyindle emnyama njalo kufanele sihlale sikhale. Angi-understand thina indle emnyama ukuthi why njalo insizi zethu sithi abanye abantu abazenzayo kuthina? I-Ukraine ilwa ne-Russia, ziyalwa, akekho hlehlayo. I-Iraq, Afghanistan, balwa baze baphuke inyawo. Thina siyakhala. And so ningayitsheni ukuthi ukukhala kwenu kuzonilethela inkululeko. Khohlwana. Umuntu okhalayo umuntu ozoma-abuse. But umuntu okwazi ukusukuma athathe into akwazi ukuyithatha ayidefend ngeke umthinte. Ama-Muslim mangena eflightini kwindizamshini, wonke umuntu uyayibuza ukuthi lo muntu ngempela siyofika yini lapha esiya khona njengoba esela. Ngifuna ukunikhombisa ukuthi ezinye izizwe to attain and to achieve their objective, they are prepared to kill themselves. If ukuthi thina abantu abamnyama asikakabi prepared to die for our cause, we are not going to win this thing. So hlale nje sicula noyana. Ingane ye-Muslim at the age of 5 isukuyazi ukuthi njoba ifunda, at the age of 18 is going to pay the ultimate price for its nation. At the age of 5, 6, 7 years ukuthi ngizofa ngifela isizwe sami. At the age of 18 ngiyafunda, angifundeli mina, ngifundela isizwe sami, ngizofa. And so there is nothing intellectual about power. It's about sacrifice. You can't quote Marx. You can't quote anything when it comes to power. Power is about death. Even uNkulunkulu, efuna ukunqoba uSathane, he killed himself. He came into this world, he made it clear, which you know what? Ngizofa and ngizofela nini. And when that hour arrived, azange ashintshi. Wathi ngiyakhona nqamla ezweni. And so good people, don't be scared. You can't quote Jesus Christ at the same time uyigwala. Ngeuyenze leyo nto. uJesu wayengena phakathi esizweni samaRoma ehlome ingovolo engena lutho ethi nje ngizofela abantu bami. Engena lutho. And enye into ngaye wengahambi nenqwaba. Nezulu siyashisa iningi liyabona ukubenda. Wengahambi nenqwaba, wehamba nabantu abawu-12. Oshintsha umhlaba. And so into esisho ukuthi ke asibafuna abantu abaningi. Asibadinga abantu abaningi. uNkulunkulu bayibathi is 3 in 1 abanye. Bawu-3 basho njalo. U-Allah uyi-1, uBuddha uyi-1. Why thina sifuna abantu abama-million? uShaka wayeyi-1. Babengekho 6 oShaka. And so once saqala saba i-crowd, azini ukuthi leyo nto ayiyindawo. Once saqala saba baningi safakwa emabhasini, lento kade ngisho abafowethu ngithi akekho umuntu esomfaka ebhasini thina. And akekho umuntu esofesa imtshela ukuthi sonnika ukudla. Omama bashonelwe bayazi. Balana ngabatshena ukuthi asinipromise kudla. Manje uthi niyeza izana. Because umuntu omnyama njoba kade esho uSibu umshaya umenze yonke into oyifisayo. Masumnika uBrian akuxolele. AmaPakistan aseyasazi ingakho esinika even nanokudla okubolile because bayazi ukuthi thina into esilwelayo emhlabeni into esisesiswini. And so asiqaleni ukukuyeka lokho. Asingathembeli kubantu abafundisiwe. Ngoba umuntu ofundisiwe niyazi, wa graduate uyaphuma ekhaya useyohlala eflatini. That's the first thing. Abe nemoto ahlale eflatini, gone. Abuye ngoDisemba nje nizobabona sebeshutha izithombe besemakhaya. Kube sengathi bathorile. It's very dehumanizing. Athi woza mangishoot, ashoot ukudla, ashoot yonke into, aposte ko Facebook. 3rd of January gone. Mase kuba khona abafowethu emalokishini. Into engifuna ukunitshela yona. Kunale labantu kwathiwa i-lost generation. Those people namhlanje most of them banabo 60, 70. See creation yabo, we are their procreation. If ubaba wakwazi ngabo 85, 86, 87 wayina 15 years, that person was doomed because he was living under a serious violence. We grew up without love, without care, because the system destroyed everything, destroyed social fiber, destroyed everything. That's why I want my communities eteganje. That's why I want intandane. Because umlungu, if enza something, aka destroy now, or destroy future. Thina njengoba sonke sila, bebebazi ukuthi one day will be useless. And so that's why I always say the only asset that we have that we need to protect, abantwana bethu. Tina, they've destroyed us, but we are aware. And so let's protect our kids. Let's protect abantwana bethu abanabo 15 years. Because those are the people that we need to protect. If we're not going to protect those people, let me tell you something. In 20, 25 years, and you live to see it, we won't have another native in this country. We will be staying in reserves. We'll be like Aborigines in Australia. We'll be like the Native Americans in America. We'll be like the Khoisan and the San and the Hottentons. We won't be existing. We will see that because our curse is our fear. Our curse is not to speak the truth. And so, Babu Skakhan, nabobonga bafowethu ade bekhona. Ngizocela ukwenza a very simple thing. Kunabafowethu esisebenze nabo saze safika la. Besine group ebesibiza nge16 Phoenix Massacre Day. Sangenelwa yingcingo sase sithi no, akube khona igroup ezoba khona. Ngizobacela mhlawumbe mawuthi bakhona beze ngaphambili. Abenhliziyo ngizocela ukuthi baze ngaphambili khona nizobabona. Noma kuthiwa bawu4 or 5 ngizocela ukuthi beze ngaphambili. Bebengenalutho, but we said that we will try to do something. And it's always important to recognize abantu. Abanamali, abanalutho. But it was ukuthi and so yabo ingakho ngisho ukuthi in my life, in my journey, I've decided to work with people abangenamagama. Because you know, abantu abanamagama neingane zosibanibani bayinkinga. You see, bathanda ukukhuluma English namanga. And so ibona laba mndeni bafowethu abantu ade sibambisene nabo. Sibona ukuthi sizokwenza kanjani. And sisebenze kakhulu nabo. and asazani sonke sahlangana sabe ake kwenziwe something, and so imndeni yobanila inhlanganiswe yibona labantu, akho government, akho lutho, asemile imishonana okwenza imali ngani, akho bheki icele, asiyihambi leyo nonsense government. And ningabatshena mina bayazi ngeke senza abantu bakithi lima ngepain yabo, siba promise ukuthi sizobanika 20,000 bene pain. And so abafowethu besicoordinator nabo base bayasho ukuthi, you know what Xolani, we'll do whatever that osicela ukuthi siyenze. And so nila ngemsebenzi yabo, and so ngicela ukuthi nibanike ihlombe. Hayi ukuthi siyababonga, ukusho nje ukuthi siyabonga into ekade nenza, asibabonge. And so it was your duty bafowethu nani bosisi bethu, siyabonga kakhulu. Seningahlala phansi, mase njengoba kuhlala phansi khona kuthiwa inhliziyo, ngizocela isahle izinso. Yeah, ngizocela izinso isahle bayazazi. Yabo, that's why no izinso manje. Yeah. And so what we were doing, because siyazi thina abantu abamnyama ukuthi siyadestroyana. Ekudestroyaneni kwethu izinto igcina ingaphumeleli. And so we have to create different layers. Even nazo inhliziyo ibingazi ukuthi kunezinto. Yeah, because we try to avoid ukuthi ungangeni emoya emibi. You see, because mangeni moya emibi bese ngeke sibe khona la, bese ugcina sikhuluma iEnglish siphelelana ko WhatsApp. And so ngase ngidecide ukuthi, you know what, asibe nenhliziyo, but kukhona abafethu mina ngizoba approach personal because of different skills. Sibizo ukuthi siyizinto naye enyihleli la. And so I know it's got a good reason. And so sabe sithi ke sizosebenza nabo. And so ibona kade konke kade kwenzeka, omama bayazi bangithi gugu thintana usibanibani bebethinta lowo muntu. And so namba abantu okuyibona ekugcineni in terms of resources and everything aba-contributing. And so ingakho izubheri kwazi ukusurvive because angiguqe ndiyena, angiguqe emlungwini. Mawukuthi into angikwazi ukuyenza ngincela ungayenzi. And so ungcono ngiguqe kubantu basekhaya, usizi lami ngililethe kubona kunokuthi ngiyendiyeni ngemlungwini. Ingakho ungakazi uze kuthiwa that one, you know, that's why ngakho yonke leyo nonsense, because angiguqi kubelungu nakumandiya cha bayokutshena nabo. And so angibonge kubona ukuthi bebela. And then kukhona insizwe engizocela isale mase nehlile usibu ukhumalo. Yeah, seningehla bafowethu. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Asazani nalensizwe. Iyona into enhle emhlabeni. Ngiqala ukumbona, it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, efike kwenye into engangiyenza. Asazani. Sasingaze sibonane even before. But ngathi mangimbuka nomoya uhlangana nenkulumo ayishoyo. Ngase ngithi nanga umuntu engizomdinga. Ngangamazi. And then ngase ngithi mfowethu asesihlangana. Sabushayi one on one ne? Naye. Ngathi mfowethu ngifuna sengumhla ka-16 ubani wena. Wathi hayi uzongazi, angifuni ukuyizisha igama bla 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 uzongazi. Mina ngimazi. Ngase ngithi okay, I know. Wathi asishayi breakfast Xolani. Ngathi mfowethu kwasho ukuthi nami ngibusy. Elokhe ngincenga ukuthi sibonane, ngincenga ukuthi sibonane. Ngathi mfowethu ngibusy. Ngathi nami mase ngishayeka ngibona ukuthi yazi lento ngeke ngiyenze ngiyi-one. Ngathi mfowethu asesibonane. Wathi hayi iza kumina. Saqala sahlangana naye. Ngathi mangimtshela ukuthi mfowethu ngomhla ka lento kukanje kanje. Wathi mfowethu wena usupport ubani? Ngathi mfowethu ngimngedwa. Wathi hayi yazini ngizongena nami ngizokusiza. ngathi serious ngiyabazi abantu bakithi abafundile ngisebenzile nabo bavele badle bathatha incwadi baphume bathi bazoyideposit into yakhona nge-EFT and then ngeke uphinde umbone engase ngithi mfowethu wena zikhiphani ukanjani wathi besiyekela yonke into asenze lento ngitshena uthi yini kukho konke kwenzekile especially on Tuesday and even today for the first time kwizubera ngikwazi pick up ifoni ithi mfowethu i-taxi kanjani bengimfonela nango-2 ukuze omama babe coordinated he sponsored almost everything but sisaney'kweletu sazoyikhokha but so far he really contributed ngize ngikhuluma nje nobaba uSikhakhani ngisho ngithi mfowethu isho ukuthi sikubhukhele in ngangazi ukuthi ngizobe sengifonela umfowethu yabo ngangazi and so ngizothanda ukuthi ngibonge kuyena no ngizokubonga lokhu ngoba lokhu kuyaphela namhlanje lokhu ngibonge mfowethu ukuthi we have been kind kuma families as well as to us all yeah and saya kwakhe angijwayele ukudla for free emojos ngabona ebeka isithebe wathi asidleni sadla wabe sekukhona lesa sibuya khona enkosini umqoqi ngathi yazini ekhaya kufanele kuphekwe kulate wathi hamba udlula uthathe ubatshela nami njengathi ayike liyafa ibhizinisi ngizocela ukuthi ngikhokhe and so mfethu ngibonga kakhulu about everything thanks
uzobonga kahle sesiqumba umbuzo phansi
and uthemkosi ungakuphi uthemkosi ngicela uvele mntaba izupera ayithandwa ne ayithandwa nakancane and so I'm a public enemy #1 la kwi province mhlambe na kwi country angibonge la kuthemkosi he has always been there talking to me negotiating certain things asking me ukuthi kanixolane kwenzakalani knowing ukuthi abantu abanye ngabothemkosi la KwaZulu Natal sabantu esinomona kakhulu siyakwazi nokuyidestroy izinto ingakho uke wafona ukuthi xolane khipha iprogram ngathi ngeke ngiyikhiphe iprogram the reason why ngayikhiphanga iprogram eyokuthi ukufaka igama uthi kukhona uThemkosi umuntu avela athi aha ngiyilapho akhohlwe ikhoze bekafanele ayiyele ayipersonalize and so ngimfonele izolo ebusuku ngathi mfowethu ngiyakudinga today uzoba umphathi ohlelo wathi khuleka ngitshela ukuthi ngifike ngasikhatsini and so angibonge mfowethu angibonge lastly ngibonga ubaba uSikhakhani again ngiyazi ukuthi umidwayidwa ngiyazi ukuthi to be yourself is not an easy task to be quite honest siyesixoxa I know it's not an easy task to be yourself you are in the belly of the beast and you fight alone sometimes you win and you lose but that's the nature of the game you know and ukhona ubhuti okuyena othe asize la ekhaya engathi mangimfonela akazange anginike inkinga azange asho ukuthi ini uEdman ukuthola ukududuzeka and so that's the nature yama black political organizations is to embarrass us that's their responsibility is just to embarrass us nothing else look how they communicate with you kwi-issue yase-Phoenix the president came akazange eze emndenini e-America umlungu wakwazi kuya kaGeorge Floyd wayithatha ifamily kaGeorge Floyd wayisa even nase-White House our own president akaze even on a single day athi uzoya nje eMlazi ehall nje kanje ucela ukuthi abe nama families only. It's got that power. Angafika nama social million mawukuthi usabuthi abagadi afike nje nama families athi nje ngikhalisana nani aphuma hamba. Only that thing akakwazanga ukuyenza. Sahamba nayo mvotela. Ehambe ufuna ukuvotelwa akazange ayikhuluma indaba yase Phoenix, akazange asho even a single thing ngabantu bakithi ababulawa. And so the fact of the matter bafowethu nani bodade bethu aninamuntu ninodwa. Abantu abamnyama bakwi chaos, ba managwa nge chaos, and so be chaotic as well. I'm being honest. You can't be managed through chaos and brutality, and yourself, you don't do the same. Be chaotic and be brutal to the system. Be chaotic and be brutal to the system. Because if you are not going to do that, we are going to perish. The small money abanika yona ngihlale ngithi is a revolving loan. Today bazoyinika usithole ngethenda ka 50,000. Aphile kancane usithole bayithathe bayoyinika umkhizi ngethenda same 50,000. Usithole usazoma ukuthi i10 kuze kube yakhe ngathi ifika kuyena i10 akasena lutho emaphaketheni. Is poor again. Mase siyaqala siyabulalana. Ngobani? The waiting is too long. I can't wait. And so they create us ukuthi kube like an inferno. Sibulalane nsodwa. And so the business forum and each and every black person, we must protect each other. There must not be even on a single day where we will hear that ukhona igazi elichithekile lomuntu omnyama. We need to protect each other. The business forum bafowethu, we need to protect each other. That is our responsibility. Nothing else. Igazi lomnyama lomuntu omnyama alingachithwa yithina. Thina fanele protect. Fanele sife lapho kufa khona umuntu omnyama. Fanele siba protecte bethanda bengathandi. Sibafele bethanda bengathandi. Sibalwele bethanda bengathandi. Igazi labo igazi lethu. Akufanele silichithe. Igazi kufanele lichitheke. Igazi le system. That is the blood that must be. That's what we have to see. Is the blood of the system. That is the only blood. Not blood igazi lomunye umuntu. Not igazi lomunye umuntu. Especially umuntu omnyama. Ama township bafowethu ngizonicela kuba ama safe zones. Ama township kuba ama safe zones. Ngazi ukuthi mangibona uDerek ngo12 ngiyazi ukuthi I'm safe. uDerek imebona uMagwaza azi ukuthi here is my brother. Today we are here kwaMasho for the first time in a township to talk like this. Ever. That must be your responsibility bafowethu. Ukuthi such discussions ukuthi sibuyisana kanjani sisonke. Ukuthi lo mnotho waseThekwini so uthatha kanjani so distribute kubantu abamnyama. That is very important. Angibonge. Ngibonge kakhulu. Thanks.
Sibonge uDube. Ngicabanga ukuthi bakwethu lonke izwe befanele likhulunywe namhlanje likhulunyiwe. Elingazange lishiwo bengalona ilanga lalo namhlanje. Ngokwami ukubona kuhambe kahle konke. Kodwa phela ngoba sabantu ngasebenza likhona la kushayiseke khona. Sixolise kuleyo ndawo uma kukhona. Kodwa ke ngiyacabanga ukuthi i-line of march sitholile Akona umsebenzi wami ukuphinde ngibonge ama-speakers sibe nawo. Umsebenzi wami njengamanje ukuthi si-conclude the business yethu namhlanje. Ngokukhulu-ke ukuyithoba, ngizocela ukuthi indlela esiqale ngayo akube indlela futhi esivala ngayo. Ngizohanda over-ke kubaphathi bami lapha enkonzweni yamaNazaretha yakashembe ukuthi bazivalele ngendlela besivule ngayo. Siyabonga.
Wethu sinanzalo kadengana